Hi guys, Tracy here with another scrapbooking process video using the Cake by the Ocean kit from the Scraptastic Kit Club, which is of course the kit for the month of May. I'm here having a look at the kit, and I'm actually starting off by having a look at the words that come in the kit. These are from the Life Noted collection from Pink Fresh Studio. And just before I get started with my project, I just want to familiarize myself with what words come in this kit, just in case I want to use some of these beautiful acetate block letters. I think they'd make a great subtitle, although I won't be getting a chance to use them today. I took out the word story there just in case, and I want to use this word cherish, which is beautiful. I love these word stickers that came in the kit. They are thickers and they're so beautiful. They are, I believe they're part of the Fancy Free collection, of which there is other things in this kit. And so I'm really loving this is my international student Sophia's prom picture, just one of the pictures of her and her two friends from next door who are also international students from Germany and Mexico. And it's a picture of them sitting on a park bench where they were getting their photos taken, and I just love it. I love the pops of color. And so I'm having a look at some of the pattern paper, but a part of me really wants this layout to be very simple, and I almost don't want to scrapbook the picture. I was saying to Stephanie, who was beside me while I was doing this, I kind of just want to put the picture and the word cherish and on the page and just leave it, which of course would make for a pretty boring process video and a pretty boring layout in my scrapbook too. So I'm taking 2 strips off of this gorgeous, gorgeous paper, also from the Fancy Free collection. I'm going to put one at the top and one at the bottom, and that will add just a little pop of color. And then I'm going to, instead of doing a whole ton of layering, which I was in the mood for layering, but I just didn't want to layer on this particular picture. So instead of doing a whole lot of layering, I'm just going to sprinkle some embellishments around what's already on this page. And that's really all that this layout is going to be. So I'm going to play around here with a couple of different options. This die cut says cherish the here and now, and so because I already have the word cherish on this layout, I'm just going to cut off the word cherish and just have the here and now and have that be kind of like a subtitle for me here. I love that banner. It's quite dark, and so I want to use it, but I keep going back and forth about it. These are all die cuts from the Fancy Free collection. And then these are some wood veneer birds from the kit, which I really love. They're exclusive to the kit, and that's going to end up causing me a problem a little bit later, but I'll wait till I get there to tell you guys about that. Sprinkling some of those stars that are also exclusive to the kit. They're really pretty glitter stars. There's a die cut in there that's also exclusive to the kit that says "You are pretty cool" that I want to use. And I'm putting so many clusters down in the bottom right side of that photo that I want to balance it off by putting some things up in the top left. And I haven't decided yet if it'll be the top left of the layout or if it'll be the top left of the photo where those embellishments go. So for now, I'm just putting them up there. So those swatches of blue, green, and pink, and then also the blue, pink, and silver stars are up there. And here I'm just thinking about, do I want to do some papering layer in addition to these embellishments that I already have kind of placed around this photo? And you see me, I'm just kind of thinking. I love these word stickers, and I feel like I've been inspired by those word stickers to kind of get messy. I love the watercolor splotches all over them, and I thought this layout really needs a doily, so I went to my stash and grabbed a doily. And so I've got this kind of push-pull going on where I really want to get messy and do something based on those word stickers that are all splotchy, but what I've got going on here is very clean and simple and crisp and without a whole lot of layers. And so I'm going to take a change in direction here in a minute. But first, I'm going to mist these beautiful birds. I love these birds so much. Wood veneer birds from the kit. And I'm just using my Mr. Huey's white mist, which is really, it's my favorite white mist. I do like it. I know it's hard to dry sometimes, but it dries really, really well on wood because it just soaks right in. And you see that it looks that you really have to mist these to make them white because the mist does keep on getting absorbed into the wood. And so they start off looking quite white, and then as time goes by, they look more and more wood colored, and then you have to go back and add some more white. So I tried to really fill them up with white mist so that they would stay quite white looking. And then I stopped and did a whole other layout because I was feeling like, man, I just want to layer. So you'll see that my next layout on this channel is that. It's called So Happy. And that's the one I just kind of set this aside. I didn't glue anything down, as you can see. I set it aside, did the other layout, and now here I am. I think this is a different day. This is the next day I came back and I glued everything down for this one. I just gave it some time to just think about whether I wanted this one to be that simple or if I wanted to do more with it. And I basically felt like after I had already done the journaling and everything for the other layout, that I was okay with having this one be a much, much simpler layout that's very photo dominant, no journaling, and just kind of, here's how pretty prom was, is basically what this one is saying. So you see me here, just those words have a lot of flexibility in terms of just because they're made out of foam, you can make them the shape that you want within reason. You can make them, you can move the foam around as you stick it down so that it can, you see how C, H, and E are up high, and then the R, I, S, H is sort of lower. I think that gives it a nice casual look, so I wanted it to stay like that. I love how those birds turned out. They're really, really pretty. And it's just a matter of peeling things down and sticking them down at this point. And then I realized, wait a minute, I really meant to do my mist before I glued everything down. But at this point, I'd already glued it down. So I thought, okay, I'm going to have to sprinkle my mist drops after the fact. And that's going to cause me a problem, which you will see. So now I'm going over to my sewing machine, and so you will see that. There we are. I did glue the strips down before I went to my sewing machine. I think that happened off camera, so that just keeps, and I just used a tiny bit of glue in two little places, and it just, sorry, I bumped my camera by accident there. That just makes it a lot easier to sew those strips in place without them moving all around as I'm sewing them. And so now I'm just going to cut off the little strands. And I like how this is turning out. I like it feels balanced between that top corner and the bottom corner, and then the title at the bottom. I'm just pulling this up for a little bit of extra dimension, and I did sew with my silver thread. I've run out of my gold thread, so it happens to be good that this kit has silver in it instead of gold because I've run out. Now, here's where I really wish I had done my mist before I glued everything down, because I would be sprinkling in the same two places. And I'm thinking about using this Liquitex acrylic ink, but I find that the splats on that come out very, very large. And I want to have a combination of larger splats and smaller splats. So I'm going to go back to my Hottie Swap Color Shine in black. It might be called Ebony. I can't remember what the color is. So that's okay so far. I mean, one of the splats landed sort of under that acrylic leaf, and it's, it looks a little weird, but it looks okay so far. And so that just adds a little bit of extra interest to this otherwise very, very simple layout, and very clean and crisp. And I like how it looks, but I feel like I want a little tiny bit more, especially up here, and then I put some down here, and then look. So when something like this happens, you have a couple of options. You can just leave it and pretend that it didn't happen and ignore it and recognize that mistakes happen and move on. Or you can also accept that mistakes happen and move on, but move on in a way that you alter the bird so that you can cover it up or add a sticker over top of it. Or you could pull the bird off and swap it with another one, which would have been really great if I had a whole package of birds. However, there were only 3 birds in this pack, and one of them, the third one, had legs on it and it was pointing in the wrong direction. So I wasn't going to be able to do a swap. Now, I'm going to show you guys what I did to fix this mistake, but in retrospect and seeing how it turns out, I actually wish that I had used a small word sticker. Like I could have even made a word, typed out a word like fly or dream or something on my typewriter and cut it into a small rectangle and just layered it over top of the bird. And I could have even done something similar on the other bird to make it look like it matched. But here's what I did instead. And you know what? These things happen. They happen all the time, and that's why I decided to leave this in so that you could see how I went with it. And I'm actually glad for the process video, not for my layout, but I'm glad for the process video that I actually don't like what I ended up doing, because that's just something that you guys can learn from me. So what I'm doing is I am taking a bit of mist with my paintbrush, and I'm just painting over the mistake. And I was kind of wondering whether if I just sopped some more mist on, because of the way that wood veneers work and how they really soak up the mist, and because it was mist, the black spot that landed on it was mist also. I thought maybe I could just kind of spread it out and blend it in a little bit and see how that bird is looking gray. I'm going to zoom in a minute so you can see that. I kind of like how it's looking gray. And so I thought, well, maybe I could make both of the birds gray. So I took a tiny, tiny little drop of the black mist and put it on the other bird. And suddenly now both birds are too dark. They just look like bird-shaped blobs on my layout right now. So I'm kind of, again, I'm not freaking out or anything. I'm just thinking, okay, so what can I do next? That didn't work so well. Maybe I can just keep on adding layer upon layer of white mist until it's more of a shade of gray that I like. And in theory, that would work. But this is an etched wood veneer, and the more layers I put on it, the more I'm losing the little etched lines, like they're filling up and becoming invisible, or just not invisible, but harder to see, the more layers of mist I put on there. And at some point, the wood veneer is going to be saturated, and it's just not going to absorb anymore. So what I'm doing here is I'm blotting to try to remove some of the residue that's starting to accumulate on the surface of that wood veneer, because the more layers I put on, the more the grainy part of the mist, like the color pigment, is sitting on top, and it's clogging up the little etched edges in the bird that show you the lines that really make it look like a bird. So then I thought, well, I've been wanting to use my stickles a little bit more. I really wish I had silver stickles. I think this would have worked out beautifully with silver stickles, but I don't have silver stickles. So I used this white stickles, and I think I'm going to show the bottle in a second so you can know the exact name of it. And these are not shiny, and yeah, I think silver stickles would have been beautiful. It would have tied in with the silver on the title and everything. This looks okay, and I do like it, and I'm not dwelling on how much it doesn't look the way that I want it to look. I love those birds. There it is. So it's the frosted lace stickles that I used that didn't look all that great. They look okay. Anyhow, I really loved the birds when they were just misted white, and I think that makes me dislike these birds a little bit more than what I would have if I didn't love them in the first place quite so much. Anyhow, I'm moving on. See this? I'm moving on to stickers now and just letting it go. And yeah, and I'm aware of the fact that I could change my mind. I could always pull them off if I really hate them, but it's hard to know what they're going to look like when the stickles is wet. So I'm just giving it some time to percolate in my brain in terms of what my options are and to see how they look as they dry. So while they're wet, I'm just going to continue to decorate this layout, and then I will come back to it a little bit later. So this is what it looks like. I think that the embellishments are nice and balanced from the top and the bottom corners, and there's repetition of color in each of the corners. I wanted to bring that floral element, the puffy sticker, up to the top because the same floral element is in the bottom corner. And here it is dry, so you'll get to see it. See, it's okay. Like it's not ugly or anything. There's nothing wrong with them. They're just not nearly as cute as they were if I had left them alone and not gotten mist on them, but that's okay. So here we are. You get to see that really pretty doily. I'm running out of those doilies. They're really detailed and I love them. I like how the mist just adds an unexpected random element to this otherwise very planned, placed layout, and adds that unexpected element that I love so much that also really threw a wrench in my plan. And that's kind of with the birds. And so, you got to take the good with the bad when it comes to splatter. So I've decided here to add a little bit of journaling. It's very simple. It just says Prom 2016, Sophia, Anna, and Enrique. And I used my superfine pen for that because I knew I wanted to write very tiny. And here's what it looks like up close. I love the detail of the silver stitching, and I'm really not dwelling too much on the birds. I think they look fine, pretty even. I like them. They look very, it adds kind of like a mixed media element to this and a handmade element to this layout that otherwise wouldn't have been there. And so I like it. Sometimes these mistakes work out okay. Like I said, if I really hated them, I would have just pulled them off, and I didn't, so they're fine. I love the splatter. I love how it looks on the white paper, especially on the textured paper, because the splatter doesn't have exact circles. It kind of splats out in an uneven line, and I like that a lot. So thanks so much for watching, everyone. Have a really great scrappy week, and check out my next video. I'm going to narrate it right away, so they should post immediately after one another if you want to see the layout that allowed me to kind of get my layering groove on. That one's coming up next. Thanks. Bye-bye.